Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor in the news. Appreciate you joining us this morning. If you're watching us live on Facebook, thanks for that. If you're checking us out anywhere else, please remember that we do post these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. You can check them out there at your leisure. There are audio and video versions, a little more cleaned up than the Facebook Live. I've had a few people tell me they prefer those versions. So if you ever check those out, please remember you are going to get same video quality, but a little bit, you're going to get the microphone quality from this. Your traffic this morning, looking at, you're looking at delays from Range back past Pete's Highway at this point, looking like a wreck there at the intersection of Range and I-12. Also, minor delays after O'Neill, so probably starting around Millerville, backed up to the O'Neill area. Delays in and around the major high schools, that would be Walker, Denham, and Live Oak. When I say major, I just mean the bigger ones. That causing some backups on 190 and Highway 16, as well as folks get their kids to and from school. Minor delays on 64 heading into Central, as well as heavy delays on Greenville Springs if you take your left right there off of 64. It's currently 70 degrees. It's going to be a warm one today. 77 your high, 66 your overnight low. Rain going to start this afternoon, and it's probably going to last through Wednesday or maybe even Thursday, and it's going to be that last little band that comes through is going to bring some cold weather starting on Thursday, so keep an eye on that. Today, happening actually just about an hour and a half from now, Hobby Lobby is going to have a ribbon cutting over there at Juban Marketplace, which is across Juban Road from Juban Crossing. They will be opening for business, so it's kind of surprising how quickly all this came. So anyway, a ribbon cutting coming for Hobby Lobby. That'll be this morning. The school board last Thursday, we discussed a little bit what they did. They refinanced some bonds, but they also jumped on board with the Livingston Parish Council and sending a resolution to the East Baton Rouge Parish Council discussing Morningside at Juban Lakes. They were not real happy with the whole idea that CAFA, which is the Capital Area Finance Authority, could grant tax exemptions for a development in another parish. CAFA is, of course, ran by the East Baton Rouge Parish Council. The East Baton Rouge Parish Council will meet this week, and they'll kind of decide the fate of that project. Both the Parish Council and the school board have now sent resolutions to EBR saying that they're not in favor of this, not in favor of the, tax exemption. It would be a property tax exemption complete. The sheriff is also not in favor of it. There's just a lot of money on the table that would not be collected. And not only that, but both boards are not real comfortable with someone in another parish being able to grant a tax exemption in a completely different parish. So they're both against that. Both would be the school board and the parish council are both against this development. Not against the development. I need to be clear on that. They're both against granting the tax exemption for this development. So they have both written that letter. We will see what the East Baton Rouge Parish Council does with that. The Parish Council last Thursday had a very long discussion about sewer. We discussed it briefly Friday morning. But we're going to get into this one specifically. There were two parts to it. It was brought up by Councilman Randy Delatt of District 8. He's one of the new electees. He was replacing Tab Lobel. Mr. Delatt started off with sewer inspections by the parish. So anytime you build a new home or anytime a tenant switches out in a rental or lease property, this is within the greater parish. That is, you must go to the parish permit office and pull a sewer permit. Then that work order is shipped to the health unit, where they then engage an inspector to go inspect the property. Now, in a lot of cases, the property's never inspected. They just, within maybe a few hours, give you your final, what's the best way to put it? I don't really think they even have language for it. They kind of give you the all clear, which you then take back to the permit office, and the permit office gives you the all clear paperwork to hand to the electric company. So tied into all this is getting your electric turned on. You have to pass the sewer inspection. Now, if an inspector does show up, it usually takes a few days, upwards of 10 to 15, according to some testimony the parish council heard last Thursday night. And then almost invariably, despite the fact that some of these tenants or some of these homes had recently been inspected for sewer, there always seems to be a problem. according to a few who testified, including Taryn Creekbaum of Livingston, as well as Steve McDaniel of Denham Springs, both of whom own a lot of rental homes in Livingston Parish. There's almost always going to be a problem with your sewer if they send an inspector out. And, Ms. Creekbaum alluded to the fact that somebody's making some kind of money off of this process somewhere. So she pushed the council. She's asking for them to be a little more wary of what's going on. They're trying to adjust that process because there's also little problems with the paperwork. Sometimes the paperwork gets lost, doesn't get sent back and forth. The inspection never happens because the initial permit never reaches the health unit, or the electricity never gets turned on because the health unit doesn't ship the paperwork back out. It's a mess. So they're going to be looking at that ordinance and who wrote it, trying to get them to testify as to why it is the way it is, why there has to be a reinspection every time there's a tenant change, and what can they do to change it. Now, next is from the business angle. Larger businesses, specifically restaurants, use a ton of sewer. It's a big-time sewer usage fee and an issue for restaurants. According to Mr. Randy DeLatte, there are several restaurants on Highway 22 that he believes have been targeted by the Department of Health and Hospitals. One such is Reds. One of the owners of Reds, or one of the children of the owners, came to the parish council. His last name is Eubanks, and he was discussing what would it require for Reds to replace their sewer system to meet current standards. It's about $60,000, $500 to $600 a month. Now, Ms. Eubanks did say that I guess you can say this is only to do with singular mechanical, self-containing systems. This is not about anybody that's tied into a parish or city sewer system. Now, one of the things that was discussed was that high cost, but Mr. Eubanks also said that their red sewer system was about 40 years old. So there's going to be some interesting discussion there. The council decided to send a resolution to the Department of Health and Hospitals, petitioning them to send someone out to discuss with them, has there been an increase in inspections? Have they tightened restrictions? Has it just been so long that they're going to send people out? One of Randy DeLatte's concerns was the fact that the inspections were not uniform. They went into certain businesses, skipped over homes, skipped over other businesses. So it's going to be interesting to see where they end up with this going forward in terms of what DHH has to say and if they'll appear at the next meeting. Getting into some sports here, Walker did not have the district start that they wanted. It started off slow, 16-2 in the first quarter against Scotlandville, and Scotlandville ended up winning by 16 points, 70-54. So the Walker Wildcats will be looking to bounce back. Doyle girls continue to cruise after routing Springfield on Friday. They'll be with that big win Tuesday over St. Thomas Aquinas. There it is. They'll be looking to close out their district slate undefeated and hoping to secure that number 1 seed. You can always check out scores. There's a ton of them at www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports. There's quite a few rounded up after the Friday slate of games. Please go check that out. Arts Council of Livingston Parish here in Denham Springs held a reception on Saturday for their book, Preserving the Culture of Livingston Parish. For about 18 months, Miss Judy Averett and the Arts Council gathered tons and tons and tons of local artwork, local information, and put together this book. It's a coffee table book. It's all about Livingston Parish. It's all about where we've come from, where we're going, and it's all done artistically. It's a $30 book. If you want it, you can always pass by the Arts Council building. It is on Hummel Street in Denham Springs, behind Denham Springs City Hall. The reception on Saturday was well received. It was from 11 to 2. And of course, those books are available for purchase whenever you'd like. Reminder about your traffic. There are delays starting at I-12 and Range, moving back to Pete's Highway. Probably stacked up a little bit past that at this point. Minor delays after O'Neill, so in between Millerville and O'Neill Lane. Minor delays on 64 heading into Central. Heavy delays if you take a left there on Greenville Springs. It's currently 70 degrees. Going to be a warm one today. 77 degrees is your high. 66 your overnight low. You're looking at afternoon showers. That it's going to be raining intermittently for about 3 or 4 days. Going to get cold on Thursday as the last band, try to combine rain and band. Last band of rain comes through is going to bring in a little bit of cold weather. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. We hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check these shows out at any time because you missed them, you can always check them out at www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. Please remember we are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print. We are also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We have an app to go with that. Please remember also to check out our long-form podcast. Plenty of good interview material. Check that out. It's in the same place you can find the morning shows. Had a lot of good interviews last week. Going to have some more this week. We're going to be sitting down with head coach Blake Zito of Denham Springs High School. He's the girls basketball coach, and getting his thoughts going into a big district showdown tomorrow. And you can find that. It'll be available this afternoon. One more time, McHugh David. Hope you have a great day. Please try to stay dry. If you haven't left the house yet, bring an umbrella. Going to be looking at some afternoon thunderstorms when you're heading home from work. And hope you have a great day.